Hello.
Welcome to the Mother Daze.
I was just telling Sarah that I have a video I'm going to send her of this impromptu sing-along at my friend's house with some very cool, prolific people in the industry who have amazing singing voices. And it just happened out of nowhere. Like someone's like, get on the piano, and someone's like, oh, what should we sing? What should we play? Like, I would love to have that skill where you could just play anything. They're like, play Say a Little Prayer. And this woman just starts playing on the piano, Say a Little Prayer, and then everyone's singing, and I was just like, oh my God, this is my favorite thing about life. But I never followed through with an instrument, so I can't play anything. I did try, I attempted a lot, but I've got no musical skills in that area. At least you can sing. You're a really good singer.
Well, thank you. I love singing. I wish I would have dedicated more time to a musical instrument that I could sing along with.
Oh, imagine you with a little guitar.
I know.
Why does it have to be a little guitar? Just a normal size guitar would be fine, or just a little guitar, or a little banjo would be cute.
You're like, oh, like a tiny one,
just a teeny tiny.
Just me, like always, like folk. It's because I love folk music.
God,
I'm sure that's why you're like, maybe it's that. Well, I'm so excited because, I'm looking at the calendar right now because we're recording this a little early.
So you're going to be 39 weeks. I think I figured it out.
No, because so it'll be 41 weeks. So the baby could be here.
Yeah, it could be here. Oh my God.
The baby could be here, you guys.
We are recording this early. So you could be listening to this and Sarah might have already given birth to her baby.
That's right. So you know what this is? This is a little foreshadowing, and you're going to get the story after. You're going to get the story in probably the next 2 weeks.
I feel like what we need to do is we should swap and not have a guest the week after you've given birth so that you can come and do the birth story.
That's true. We should do that.
The guest is the baby.
The guest is the baby.
Oh,
you guys.
My God.
The guest is the baby.
The guest is the baby. I could cry. Maybe I will. I've cried a lot.
I'm going to cry. I definitely. Oh my God. I'm going to cry so much. I'm going to
cry.
Freaking wait. I can't freaking wait. It's going to happen.
I think you're going to give birth before I get back to Australia. That's what I think.
I do. Because when do you leave for Australia?
My flight out is on the 6th.
Oh, the baby will be here.
The baby will definitely be here by then.
Yeah. And this episode won't drop most likely unless we decide to move it to either the 5th or the 12th. So.
Okay. Amazing.
Which is so crazy. I thought it would be really fun to play a little What's in My Hospital Bag. Should we do that? Okay.
Let's do that.
So I have this bag. It's called, I think you say it Nagati? Nagati? Oh, I wish I knew how to actually say it. But
wow, it's so pretty.
It's so pretty.
I love the texture.
It's just great because everything wipes off of it too, which is really nice. Because we know it's not cute. It's a messy situation at the hospital. You never know.
Get it all in there. Shove it all in. And how long are you usually in the hospital? For someone who has a hospital birth, what should they expect? How long do you stay overnight in hospital?
Well, I love that you asked this question because I just asked because this is a new OB for me. This is a new hospital. I'm in a new town. It's a whole different situation. So now, when I was at Cedars, it was based on clearance from your OB and then clearance from the pediatrician. So the pediatrician has to make sure that the specific tests are run. Mm-hmm. They want to make sure that your baby's ears have had enough time for the fluid to clear before they do the hearing test. Yes. And so usually you're otherwise at least there for 24 hours. It's So
you'll have at least a night, potentially
at least
two.
A night. I would say some people might even want to stay 2 nights because you have great care. You have you have like a nursing, lactation consultant.
It's your first time to nurse.
Yeah, like
you have someone showing you.
You have food that's being brought to you. Like, it's okay to like, to be there and to, want to like have that extra. So everybody's like, take the extra diapers. They'll want to, all those like mommy underwear they give you that have the big pads in them, like take that home with you. Like it's part of your hospital bill anyway. You might as well take it all with you and put it in your bag and like, utilize that stuff at home. So it depends on you and your doctor and your pediatrician and what you guys have figured out. So my last birth, 2020 with Winter, it was COVID. And my pediatrician was very adamant that he did not want me to be there for the shift change. And so it was like, if we can just come into contact with one main nurse, get as much of the testing done as possible during those like first however many hours, I want to get you out same day before the shift change comes, at 9 p.m. or whatever it is. So I gave birth, I feel like at like 11 a.m. or something. I was on my way home at like 9 p.m. at night.
Oh, wow. So you didn't even spend the night?
No.
Yeah.
Now,
that was COVID though.
Will say that was COVID. That's not normal. They rushed me through everything. They were nervous about the ears, but she passed the test, so it was fine. But that's not a normal thing. I would say you usually have to spend at least one night there. So, and the reason why I say that too is because you also physically don't necessarily feel like you can go home. Like when I was going home that night, I was like, am I seriously like standing up to get into the car right now? Like it felt like a lot, like really heavy on my pelvic floor. Like I just gave birth. Like it was a lot to get from the wheelchair to the car and, get the baby in and everything. So Eric was like helping me get in and the baby, and it was very uncomfortable. So at least one night over helps a little bit. But I will also say that one of my favorite things that's not in my bag right this moment because washing it is a blanket for you. I like to bring my own blanket to the hospital for me for after. My favorite one that I use is this Faraday blanket that is it's like cotton. It's made out of organic cotton, and it's really soft and white and fluffy on one side, and then it's like a pattern on the other side.
Oh, I know that blanket very well. Is that your Malibu house? It was there.
You literally wrap up in it, and it's like the softest, most amazing thing ever. I get really cold after giving birth, and like the blankets just aren't enough for me. Yeah. And so I always bring myself a blanket. And then in my hospital bag, I have, it's just so exciting.
There's nothing that's going to give away the gender.
Nope.
Okay, good.
So this is for me.
Oh my God, is that a hospital gown?
It's a robe. It's a linen robe from Dazed but Amazed.
Oh my God. Jess gets to be a part of your birth. She's one of my favorite people in Byron.
This is so awesome. And it's like so cozy and really easy and packable. And I was like, oh, I want this to wrap up in afterwards because it'll be nice to breastfeed and I don't have to like put a shirt on, if I don't want to yet. And then I was telling you about the gender neutral clothes. Well, I have this Also in Me gender neutral.
Oh, look at that
little gown.
Oh my God, it's a gown.
Cute. It's a gown.
Oh my God, so little feet.
I love the gowns. I love them so much because it makes changing diapers so easy.
Yes. And oh my God, what a good idea. I've never done that before.
Oh yeah. And you just
put socks on their feet?
Totally. If my babies run hot usually, so it doesn't really matter. But yes, you put socks on their feet
oh my God.
if you want to. you can also, if you feel like they need it, put pants on them or whatever. But I like a gown with bare legs and a diaper, and I just like put a little,
I have
blankie over the legs.
never done that before.
Well, the cool thing about these gowns a lot of times too is that they open up and then you can make them into pants.
Oh my gosh, so it's versatile.
Very versatile. And it's just, they're awesome. And this one is...
That's so cute.
Organic cotton. I know, it's so sweet. So I have this, and then I have this other gender neutral because it's like, green and cream.
Oh my God.
From Also a Me, which is really
so
sweet.
Cute, Sarah.
All my kids had cherries on them at some point. All of them. So I got green with cream and then some cherries.
Cherries. Okay, so you've got 3 outfits so far.
Well, actually, it's because of sizing.
Oh, yeah. We don't know.
I have a newborn, a 0 to 3, and a 3 to 6.
You have a 3 to 6?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've birthed an 11-pound baby before. She didn't fit
And was
anything.
she 3 to 6 straight away?
Yeah. She busted out of the 0 to 3. Busted.
Wow.
Because 0 to 3 really is 11 pounds is the top. And so.
Oh my God.
That's where she was.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I've been folding up my clothes here and I've been like, oh, what do I bring 3 to 6s or not? Because my baby will be 3 months by the time I get back to LA. And I'm like, maybe I won't do 3 to 6. Maybe I won't even do 0 to 3 because they're so small. But actually you saying that is making me be like, okay, I should do 0 to 3 and maybe I need to do 3 to 6.
I could be wrong, but they look really tiny. All these little outfits look so tiny. That one
you held up, I was like, that's teeny.
That
little teeny one.
There's this brand called Francis and Henry.
I love them.
Oh, me too. And I this is their nightgown t-shirt thing, and it's God. Crazy soft.
It's so soft. I just found mine in storage.
It's amazing. And so I've had one of these. She just sent me this, which was so sweet of her. And she sent me their pants too. They have these pants now. And those will be in here as well. I'm just wearing them at the moment. I stole them out of my bag for my sick days. Okay. So moving on. I hope this is not boring, but this is what...
No, it's not. You are talking and I'm muting myself and eating my bagel that my husband just dropped off to me.
Winter is at a new school where we moved, and she... this school is it's like a Presbyterian school, and it's so sweet. And there's all these amazing women in the church who I didn't have any idea this was happening, but they were knitting me a prayer shawl, baby blanket.
What?
And they prayed over it for months.
What?
And I was like, wait, what? And they gave it to me, you guys. They knitted this for the baby.
That is the most wholesome thing I've ever seen.
And it was so sweet and loving and beautiful. I was like, that's coming with me.
Oh my God.
Because
Sarah.
So many hands touched it and prayed over it and for us. And I was like, this is so deeply beautiful and meaningful, whatever religion, whatever spirituality, whatever you believe in. And I am deeply spiritual. And this to me was just so special. So that's coming so meaningful. To the hospital. I know.
And it's just filled with love.
So much love. And very that's kind of the world in which I came from. And the part of it that I loved so much was community and caring for each other and kindness and praying for people and lifting them up. And that just felt really so special to me.
Oh my God. So cute.
Highly recommend having your own products, like your face products, that you're going to feel a little bit more human like you afterwards. So I bring I'll bring my Bayo face oil, my bar, so that when I take my shower, if I take one at the hospital, I don't always do that. But if I feel like I need to, or depends on how many times I poo during labor, then I have these things, my Bayo stuff for that. and lip balm because my lips get dry there. And I don't know why, but I thought this little stuffy from Nile was so cute, and it's tiny, and I'm bringing it with me. I know.
That is so sweet.
And so I put that in there, and then that's about all I have in here right now. Underwear, obviously, and pants and things like that for me to wear out of the hospital. But that's kind of all I really bring for baby.
And maybe some, I was going to say nipple pads, but your milk doesn't usually come in until day 3.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't really need that.
And I have
and they'll give you pads.
They'll give me pads. Mm-hmm. They'll give me those mommy underwear, the postpartum underwear. And, they have diapers and stuff there. So that's
so hot, the mummy diaper that we wear afterwards. I actually love seeing that on Instagram when people post a picture of them wearing their like big mummy diapers.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so exciting, Sarah. I just love the last few weeks of pregnancy so much. They're just like, what's that feeling? Is it happening? Like there's just nothing like that feeling.
Well, every time I like go to the bathroom and wipe, I'm like, is that bloody show? Is that mucus? You know what I mean? Because you have more mucus towards the end anyway.
Yeah.
So you're like, is my cervix ripening? And my OBGYN was like, okay, it's time to do the things. Like you need to be like squeezing your nipples and like getting your nipples going. And you need to be like having sex and every 48 hours. And, things that like really help to ripen the cervix. I'm eating a lot of dates and like, stuff like that. So it's all happening.
Have you started doing any of do you remember like the curb walking and all of that sort of stuff?
Not yet, but I mean,
Eric's away.
Definitely.
Well, by the time this comes out, Eric was away when you were 37 weeks pregnant, which is when we're recording this.
Yes.
So you'll ramp that up, next week or something.
Yeah, I'm waiting to do so much of the things I do like that until I know he's like in the air and on the way back.
Yes, exactly.
I definitely don't want to instigate baby coming before that because that's not the plan.
That's not in the plan and it's not happening. So do you ever write out your birth story beforehand, like a manifest birth story? Have you ever done that?
I don't know. Oh, I feel like I did. I don't know if I wrote it out, but I definitely talked it out about winter. I really, really, really wanted to have like an 8-hour labor.
Oh my God. That's always the number I always say.
Yeah. And I wanted that with Esme too. And I got 8 hours with both of them.
Yeah. Tell me we know why it was like, what was that again?
Well, it was like 30 hours of like total, but like 17 of like active.
That's right. And then you had 8 and then 8 again.
Yeah.
That's so funny because I bet you'll have 8 again because, who knows?
We'll see.
But with my first, it was obviously like a 30-something. The second was 3 hours start to finish. Like the active labor was probably only 1 hour. But then my next 2 were 4 hours exactly. Both girls were 4 hours. And so I'm like, weird. What is this?
I know. I wonder what that is. They do say it like cuts in half, right? It's like, so.
But mine didn't. I hope that.
You're like, my next one shouldn't be 2.
I know. And then it's like some people have, like they call them precipitous birth. Oh. I think if it's like 3 hours and under or something very fast. And a lot of women say like it was almost too fast, that it was so hard to get on top of the rushes coming in.
Yeah.
That they wish it wasn't quite as rapid because it was like it was so hard to get into it.
Yes.
Because it made them feel fearful. I felt like 4 hours was a really nice sweet spot where it wasn't so fast. It's fast. Obviously, that's a fast labor, but it wasn't like 0 to 100 immediately. I had a lead up for both of those.
Oh, another thing though, I did test positive for Group B strep again.
What? That happened? Which baby did that happen with?
The last one. And I think also with Esme. The only one that I didn't test positive for Group B strep was Wyatt, I think. So
what does that mean? What do you have to do?
So it means that okay, so the biggest thing is that if your bag of water breaks, you can't wait it out at home forever, because you don't want, this is what they say. Okay. So this is just, you guys everybody has a different outlook on Group B strep. There's a lot of information out there. So definitely go put the information that I have gotten from my OBGYNs and midwife, because she was a very conservative midwife, was that if your bag of water breaks and you're Group B strep positive, you want to get that first dose of antibiotic in you at some point, because it's going to protect baby, because Group B strep is a type of bacteria that everybody has in their body. But sometimes that bacteria can kind of travel down and then can make a crossover when you're giving birth. You have to think there's a lot of poo involved in giving birth, right?
Yes.
So, that there is a possibility of baby getting some of that bacteria on them. Now, it's like, how bad is that? How much of that do they get on them? What's the risk? Like there's a lot of information that's kind of, back and forth about it. But if you're okay with getting the antibiotic, you want to get at least 1 dose, if not 2 doses. The 2 doses would be like 4 hours apart or something.
That's right.
It takes about 20 minutes for the antibiotic to get through the bag into you, because right. It was not a big deal when I was with giving birth with Esme. It didn't hurt and it was fine, and I just I really didn't even notice it. When I was giving birth to Winter, it was so painful. There's 2 different antibiotics. I think one's penicillin and one's another one. Whatever one they use.
Pain?
Burning.
Oh, yeah.
My arm was burning. I was having these contractions, and they were coming pretty quickly. And then my arm would be burning, and I'd be like, my arm is burning, and I was just complaining so much about my arm. And they were like, yeah, it's the penicillin. And I was like, it's so irritating. So once that was done, I was like, okay, fine. Okay, that's over. Mm-hmm. And I ended up having both of those girls with only 1 dose of the antibiotic.
Oh, okay.
Because I wasn't at the hospital long enough to have 2.
That's right.
And my bag of water doesn't break. Well,
until the very end.
For the first 3 children I've had, my bag of water never broke.
Gets broken?
Gets broken every time. Yes.
You got that thick bag of water.
I have Dr. Goldberg on camera saying, girl, your bag of water is so strong. It's crazy. He's like, it is still not broken yet. This is 15 minutes before I even gave birth. It's on the same video track of when she came out. Wow. And so, I feel like it broke right as I was pushing her through or something. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I have to go get the antibiotic this time.
Which is annoying, but
which is annoying. But I can labor at home for a while as long as my body doesn't, my bag of water doesn't break.
And do you have a plan of how long, when is go time for you?
To the hospital?
Yeah. Have you figured that out?
I'll talk to the OB a little bit more. She actually comes to the house.
Cool. So she'll check you at the house.
She'll check me at the house.
Oh, so she can be the one to be like, okay, I think
we'll make the decision together. And it's 10 minutes from my house.
And so I wonder if that's 6 centimeters dilated. They're like, okay, it's time.
I think she's going to want me to get there around transition, if not before transition, to my
sweet spot was always, I remember when I was
5 or 6.
Well, actually, when I was the doula for my friend Susie with her first baby, I ended up getting her there when she was like 6, almost 7 centimeters dilated. Yeah. And that was my aim. But I was obviously I wasn't checking her. So it was purely based on how she was reacting, her moaning, I just sort of guessed it. I think Sarah is going into labor as we speak right now.
I'm just having the sweats again and I'm like feeling a little off. So, it's just standing up because my bottom and my hips hurt and, the whole thing.
Whole thing.
This is the end. I'm towards the end here.
I messaged my midwives today. Because Sarah and I have both been dealing with this. My iron is low. Sarah's is low too.
Yep.
And this happens to me in pregnancy. I've talked about it before. Every pregnancy, this has happened. No matter because my first 2 ones, I was pescatarian, my first 2 pregnancies.
Yeah.
And then my second 2, I was vegan because people were like, it's because you don't eat meat. And I was like, no, actually, I was also anemic when I did. Yeah. So this is just what my body does. And it was the same with my mum. And the iron makes me feel disgusting. And I know that you feel like that too. It's like the specific iron supplements for pregnancy, I cannot keep them down. I've stopped taking them because I'm like, what's the point? I put it in and I puke it up. Like I'm not actually absorbing it. So I messaged my midwives today and I was like, look, I'm feeling really tired. Last night when I was walking around Target, I was so spaced out. My stomach felt so tight. I was like, everything feels really heavy. By the way, I'm only like, by the time this comes out, 26 weeks pregnant, whatever. And I was just like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do my iron infusion. I want to have the energy before birth. And I've done an iron infusion before and I felt like a brand new person afterwards.
And
I was
your
like,
body was able to like absorb
completely. I had it through intravenously. There we go. And so I just like sat in the hospital. I got my IV infusion. I think I was there for an hour and a half until the bag totally drained and went into my body. And then the next like 2 months I was like, wee! And then I gave birth. It was great. So they said that they can do it at my house. So they'll bring it to me when I get back from my trip.
Amazing.
I know.
That's a really good idea. I'm supposed to get my iron checked again. Like once, I think like it'll be when I'm like 38 or 39 weeks. I'm supposed to get my iron checked again and then find out just sort of where I'm at so they can assess for after I give birth. But I've been taking it really well until I got COVID, and then I took it with COVID and it came right back up again. So
are you doing liquid form or are you doing a tablet?
I was doing the liquid, but I was told that it can turn your teeth dark. This one liquid that I was doing.
Weird.
And they're like, it's fine. They'll only be dark for a while. Eventually they'll go white again. And I was like
I'm cool.
Yeah, no, thank you. Can we, there's a lot on the market. The doctor, that specific doctor was not my OB. And she was like a nutritionist. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to skip that one. So I'm taking the needed pill supplements, which are actually very tolerable. But when I take them while having COVID, no bueno.
I asked Mark to go today to Erewhon to find me something that I can stomach. Maybe, I actually haven't taken the tablet form of, oh my God, I've just got this on my lip. I've got a seed. I have a seed on my lip. Okay, there we go. I'm eating a bagel.
There's also one called, you should text him this. There's one called Ferrazorb, and it has vitamins B6 6 and 12, and it has vitamin C in it, which is supposed to help your body absorb
and keep it down.
Keep it down.
Yeah. I was having Spartone or something like that. And it was these like sachets, which were kind of an apple juice flavor. And, they're meant to be quite potent or whatever. And I just couldn't do it anymore. It would make me feel either so nauseous to the point I had to take to bed, or I would just puke everywhere. And I was like, I'm good. I'm just going to wait for my iron infusion.
Well, you're not going to love this, but someone gave me one that had this one version, which is like not a vegan thing. It's like
liver blood,
bovine blood,
all bloody.
There's a lot of like animal things in it to try. And honestly, actually, just even talking about it right now,
yeah,
it was no bueno. No, thank you.
What is that word? Gamey.
Girl,
so when people say
and
gamey.
it was a pill, but you can't not. It just comes back up again, you can't.
The worst is when you take something and then you do a little burp and you're like, I can taste that thing I just had.
The fish oils. Oh my God.
Burping up fish.
The fish oils kill me. That is just not cool.
Oh my God. My gag reflex is still so gnarly. I've been on this road trip. I'm starting the road trip. By the time this comes out, I've finished the road trip. But anyway, I've got to tell you about, just to totally switch gears for a second here, but this sort of relates because I gagged and puked almost the whole time. But we were in New York for Phoebe's wedding. It was so beautiful. It was an entire weekend of festivities, and we went, the first night was at Mr. Chow's. They'd shut down all of Mr. Chow's in Manhattan, and it was so fancy and so gorgeous and amazing, but there was nothing to eat if you're vegan. So I was like the pregnant woman eating, they had pineapple randomly at Mr. Chow's. I was like, I'll have the entire plate of pineapple.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll have 4 plates of pineapple.
Delicious.
So I was eating that. And then Phoebe was like, well, tomorrow night is the night for you, because we went to that 11 Madison Park.
Oh, vegan
which
place.
Is 3 Michelin star vegan. It's all plant-based. And Mark we were like the second people in there. Like we lined up and we got in straight away, and we just went straight to the food, and we just started going nuts.
Pig out?
It was ridiculous. It was disgusting. I ended up talking to a lot of people, but Mark was just at the food table for the whole 5 hours we were there.
Oh my God,
he would just go back for more and more, and then the desserts came out, and then these double swan cakes came out, everything vegan. And Mark was like, Phoebe sent us this photo of of Mark that one of the photographers caught, and it's him in the corner just eating cake. And she was like, this is so funny, because everyone talked about how Mark was so
just
obsessed.
Eating.
And it's it's so hard to get into the restaurant. And anyway, they had it all booked out on a Saturday night.
Wow.
It was so next level. It was so amazing.
So it sounds so similar to that Thai place I booked out for my wedding in the middle of Idaho. I'm sure really similar to that.
Probably similar vibes.
Yeah.
But it was like this amazing DJ who they had flown in from Belgium, and he was like, the best music. Everyone was it was such high vibes. And then the next day was just super quiet, super chill. And we went to meet up with her and Bernie and a bunch of people, friends and family or whatever. And it was that was really great. We could bring the kids. And then we went walking through New York. We went through Chinatown. But any smell, even if one of my kids dropped a fart or my husband dropped a fart, I was like, I need to go puke. Literally off the side, being the gag, and also New York is so it's like high on the senses. It's like noises and smells and it's loud. And I was like, we walked around the whole day.
Oh.
And also Mark's like, you need to be more like forward when you're asking to use the bathroom at a restaurant, like, because I would need to go to pee all the time. And it was like, just go in there, like, here, I'll do it. I'll go ask them, like, my wife is pregnant. Can she use your toilet? And I was like,
my farts smell like roses.
Oh my God. He scared me. I don't know why that scared me. I jumped.
you're like, who is the ghost in the house saying that their farts smell like roses?
I was watching you and I saw you like look up or something, and then I heard his voice, and I can't wait to look back at this video because I'm pretty sure I like jumped. Like,
oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, he has been in here.
He came out of nowhere.
So I was like, ooh, I don't want to use, I just can't. Like, I'm telling you, if I go into a gross toilet and there is piss anywhere or it smells like urine,
no, thank you,
I will be vomiting everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he kept on like being like, what about this corner store? And I was like, no, I can't. He was like, you know, the playground has a bathroom. I was like, disgusting. I can't. Like, I'd prefer to hold on. And then finally we went to this. I was like, I need a chic, high-end restaurant which has like really beautiful toilets, and then I'll go in and I can ask. And then I found one, but I was like too scared to ask because I'm such a rule follower that I know they're like usually meant to be like a patron. Yeah. And I just sort of like disappeared and used their loon. It was like really great. Anyway, so we then we had a driver drive us to Philadelphia, which is not very far from New York. And Mark comes from as you know, like the most dangerous, like impoverished neighborhood in Philadelphia.
Yes.
It's called Kensington, and it's where he grew up, and his mum still lives there. And I was like really having big feelings about, because I'm from Australia and that's a country where no one can have guns unless you apply for a very, very, very strict permit for your farm. And so I guess because I didn't grow up in the neighborhood, I was just like, I am terrified. Like, what is going to happen? Like, how can we do this in a way that feels like comfortable for everyone? Anyway, so Mark was like, I got you. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to just go straight inside. We're not going to be on the streets. We're just going straight into my mum's house. I was like, okay. So we go in, and his mum's there, and she's awesome. She fosters children, and she's had these two children. She's had this one little boy for his whole life since he was a newborn. And he was called Donut. They called him Donut in the hospital because his mum was on so many drugs, his biological mum. When he was born, he was actually totally addicted to fentanyl, a newborn baby. And he was in the shape of his body was like in the shape of a donut. His feet and his hands were touching, and that's how he would be, because so much happened to him in utero with his mum, who was on such hardcore drugs, that when he came out, he had like clubbed feet. So his feet were like not straight, and he had this very specific, his nose bone is very specific, the shape of his nose is very specific, because he was born addicted to drugs as a newborn child.
Buddy.
I know. And so little Donut, anyway, so Donut has been with Sherry for a couple of years, and they just officially adopted him. So
what? They've
now changed his name to David. So our kids have an uncle who is younger than them. They have a 2-year-old uncle. And so he's autistic, he's nonverbal autistic, because of, just like what happened to him as a little baby. And so I was playing with him, and he expresses love by hugging. So he can't talk, but he makes these like, wah, like excited noises, and he was just hugging everyone. But he's like a beefcake. Like, he is a chunky, dude. And Sherry and her husband, Papo, who's David's dad, they've been really committed to all his therapies. He has so much therapy, but they got his feet are straightened now. So he can actually, they weren't sure he'd be able to walk. He had to wear this brace, which he came to visit us a couple of years ago, and he had this like crazy foot brace, and he'd smack himself with it. And it was so, and I like put a pool toy. I cut open a pool noodle to put over the brace so it was softer for him. But it's like, he hated it as a baby. And anyway, I just have to say, like, exposing my children to the way other children live was so eye-opening. Like watching them watch him and his hardships, and also he was just all love. Like he would just come and hug and squeeze, and he squeezed Prairie around, he put his arm around her neck without knowing. And then I could see she got panicked, and I had to try and pull his arms off, but he's such a strong little guy. And then I had to explain, like, you know, David doesn't have words to express his love. He uses his body to express himself. And then my boys were upstairs with Sherry's other beautiful foster boy who's been with them for the last 4 years.
Yes.
And he is just a gorgeous sweetheart. But you can also see that having a mother around like me is really triggering for him, because he goes to these meetings where his mum's supposed to show up for visitation and she doesn't show up.
Oh, God.
And he'll be sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And this is a 10-year-old boy. And then, like, his mum communicates. She's not meant to communicate with him, but she does sort of communicate with him. And she's got issues with, you know, substance abuse issues. And he has been longing to go back to his family, but it's a really sort of hard situation for him because he loves Sherry and Papo so much. He's living in this environment that they're just giving him so much love and encouragement, and is smashing it at school. He is way beyond all his peers in terms of his mathematics and his academics, and he's just killing it. He's going to be a professional football player. He plays like NFL and is the best on the team, and so he's in this environment where they're providing so much for him, but is still longing for that connection and knowing that his biological mum still loves him and wants to see him. And
I mean, that's going to be a wound
and it's a deep wound. And then I would come up and be like, "Hi guys," and I could see the way he looked at me like with a broken heart, and it just like tore me apart. It really did. I just was this beautiful boy. And then I think the first 2 days we're in Philly, he's a bit standoffish with Mark and I, and we understand why, and we know what we represent. And then the third day, we took him out with us for the whole day. We had him, and his beaming smile and his light and his joy, and it was so funny. It all came out of him, and it was just the most gorgeous thing. And we're now in a position where we're allowed to bring him out for holidays and vacations. And so my kids have got really, my boys in particular have got really close with him. They're all the same age and they just love him. And then right as we were leaving, I saw this other little boy and I was like, "Who's that?" And it's this other boy who's nonverbal. And he was in the kitchen. He was sitting down like over in a corner with his tablet. And how he relates with the world is through a tablet where he can say the things that he wants and the things that he needs.
Okay.
And it sort of speaks for him. And he was almost 6, still in a diaper. And just nothing, like no words at all, no like expressions, nothing. We waved, and I came over to him and he waved, and he sort of just kept waving at us, but would go back to the tablet.
He was like, he
has been with Sherry for a year, but he's a recluse. Like, he wants to be sort of away. So we haven't been to Sherry's house for a year.
Got it.
And I had seen this boy on her social media, but I didn't know that he was another foster child that had been living with them for a year.
Oh, wow.
And we went camping with them this past weekend for the Poor People's Army, to talk about her organization, the Poor People's Army, and to talk about how we can try to rectify the issues with homelessness, particularly in Philadelphia. And so you go and you camp in tents and little cabins, and then the whole day there are speakers where people talk about like the problems that poor folk are facing in America. And so we came along to the camp, and the first night was pissing down with rain. And we went over and we were roasting vegan marshmallows, and I see this little boy, and he's at the camp too, and he's sitting down, and he doesn't have a tablet in his hand. He's eating food. And I sat down, and I had this I sat right next to him. I had this overwhelming feeling of just like holding him and like loving him.
Yeah.
And so I just started stroking the back of his head and rubbing his back, and it was, oh my God, I'm going to cry. It was so beautiful. And he looked at me, and it was the first time I've ever seen him make eye contact. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting through to him. And he jumped up out of his seat, and he launched himself on top of me, and he wrapped his arms around me, like wrapped his legs and his arms around me. Oh. And then snuggled in, like literally snuggled into me. It was the sweetest thing ever. And I just hugged him, and I was rocking him, and it was maybe about 9 p.m. or something. It was getting quite late. And then I just started singing this like bedtime story to him, and I was just like holding him. And then like all my kids came over, and they all started singing to him, and he started falling asleep in my arms. It was so beautiful. I got photos. Mark came and took photos, and I was like, Sherry, oh my gosh, he just jumped on me and wanted to snuggle into me. And I just held him, and I just kept thinking these children are like longing for love and connection, and this little boy has had such a hard life. But I think also it just goes to show, like, Sherry is a woman in her 60s. I think she's in her 60s, maybe she's late 50s, but she has like dedicated her life to these children, and a lot of them are nonverbal. This is really hard to raise nonverbal children, and the frustrations that they get because they can't communicate, but their communication is through something different. Yeah. And he like communicated to me what he needed in that moment. And I was like, I was nervous to touch him because I didn't know how he'd respond, but he really wanted that. And it was so beautiful. And I think it was such a gift for the kids, because I've been longing to show them the way other people live, because they live such a privileged life. And I'm like, all right, we need to take them to Kenya, or we need to, have them volunteer somewhere. And then Mark has always said to me, there are so many opportunities in our own backyard for our kids to experience what it feels like to be of service and to see children their own age going through things that like you couldn't even imagine. And I think that was the greatest gift of the whole trip, and it was the most meaningful moment for me. And I'm so glad Mark's got it. He took a photo.
We need to see that photo.
I'll send it to you. And it was just like, this profound moment. And it reminded me of when I was in Limaru, Kenya so many years ago, like I'm with these children, and like the feeling of just wanting to be just a vessel. I just wanted to love. I just wanted to love and heal and nurture. And even though he got this moment from me and it was just this one tiny moment in his life, I was like, oh gosh, think about all those, like all the millions of children in the world who aren't getting the kind of things that our children are afforded. And anyway, it was very eye-opening and it was so good for the kids, and none of us have stopped talking about it. And I actually cannot wait to get back there.
That's so unbelievably beautiful and not where I thought any of that was going. So you really like took me by surprise. It sounds like such a like meaningful spiritual moment too, like in which you really leaned into your like intuition and there was this connection. Sonia's been telling me about the telepathy tapes. Did you end up?
Oh my gosh, she sent me a link to them.
She did. Okay. She said it's fascinating because there's this whole, and I haven't listened, so I don't want to like misquote anything. So when you do, you'll have to report back, and when I do, we'll report back and we'll discuss it, because she was talking about how, you know, some of these kids who are nonverbal or who are autistic, they all talk about a similar place called the Hill where they go and they meet. And it's like, you know, in their mind or, you know, wherever it is, it's like, and they can meet up with other people. I'm fascinated and want to hear about that because it's a whole other way of looking at neurodivergent, is a whole other way of seeing the mind that, you know, maybe we don't fully understand. And then
how some of their brain is like, some of it is really switched on in ways that ours
are not.
And then they like the memories and the access to information and the like. It's just, we went to this really special place with Donut, who's now David, called Helping Hands in Philadelphia. And it's his program that he goes to. And they help autistic children. And there is a crazy waiting list. I mean, there are so many children who are without care, who don't get that early intervention. And we were, for Mark's documentary on the community, we were interviewing them and seeing what they do with these kids. There are each child has 5 therapists in different areas. Like one of the areas that David was working on is safe hands. So safe hands. So because he wants to hug everyone, but not all the children want to be hugged or squeezed. And so they say safe hands, or that's unavailable. If he wants to take something and put it in his mouth, that's unavailable. Then they take it out and they redirect. And watching these young people so connected with these children and helping them and intervening, and Helping Hands goes up to age 5. So unfortunately, Sherry's other little boy, who I said was 5 turning 6, he's kind of missed that. He's only got one ear. So he's actually in they call it hard of hearing school of the deaf. But he's not getting treatment for his autism. He's getting treatment because he can't hear, but he's not getting treatment for his autism. So that's why he's, you know, still in a diaper, and that's why he's not progressing. And I was asking them, like, what do you do for children who have been on the waiting list for so long and they can't get into these kinds of facilities? And they were saying that it's just so hard. It's lack of funding, and there's so much demand. There's not enough places. And it just like made me feel for all the parents who are longing for that early intervention to see where David has come from, because we've seen him over the last few years, to where he is now. He was saying like bubble, robot. These words were coming out of him, and he's like listening, the way he can listen and understand. And he's just come in leaps and bounds.
Wow.
So anyway, I just like, what miracle workers, these people, and a lot of them were very young, like 20s and 30s, and they have such a real passion for it, and they understand the brain of these children. And it was really fascinating going into that facility. And I hope it can expand so that everyone has access to that kind of support and those therapies. It was really remarkable stuff.
You know what? We should have Sherry on so we can talk about all of this. I know you were talking to me about that. I mean, I think it would be really cool to hear her perspective and also like her passion, like what draws her into, I think being a foster parent is such a really beautiful and hard thing. And like, what is it that, you know, like makes her, what's her drive and passion for that? And then also for the service that she's done for so many years. So it would be amazing to hear about that.
Yeah, it's funny. She's very famous in Philly. Like we walk around with Sherry and everyone knows who she is.
Wow. Sure.
She's, you know, she's an advocate.
She's been working there for forever, right?
Yeah. She's a voice for poor people.
Yeah.
And she's, you know, she's the leader of the Poor People's Army. Her and her right-hand man, Galen. They're really special people. And to expose our kids to that was really important to Mark. And even though I had my wobbles at the start, like, is everything safe? I left Philadelphia thinking, all right, this is got to be, we got to fold this in as a regular part of our life.
Wow.
Because this is just an incredible thing for them, and the feeling they got in their heart helping and being there and hearing stories of these adults and everything they've been through, and these warriors who are fighting for poor people's rights. I mean, it was beautiful. And they're still talking about it. They're not just talking about us being in LA now. They're like, and what about what they said about this? And, you know, I can't believe that this is how they grew up. And
they'll never forget that.
They'll never forget it.
No, that's fantastic. Unreal. I still have like memories of doing, we had, did like a lot of mission trips when I was a kid, and we did like trips with like Doctors Without Borders, and would go and like help in clinics and stuff. And like, I would wash people's feet when they would come in like with no shoes. And that was like my act of service, you know? But I mean, I'll never forget like people who would just come in to get their feet washed before the doctors and nurses would see them. My mom and I would be sitting there doing that. We'd be rubbing lotion on them. But one time this woman walked in and she just handed me her baby. And I was a kid, you know, I was like, probably 12 or something. And so she just handed me her baby as she like sat down, and I was like, okay. And I like sat there holding the baby, and I was
your
like,
dream.
Oh my God. It was my dream. I was like, this is so cool, you know? And it's like the most beautiful baby. And I just remember like thinking like, this is amazing. And like that stuff like that, you will never forget. It like touches you in a really special way, and being part of like, you know, any sort of human connection like that was centered around kindness and service, and how can we help and be a part and lift each other up is really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
Oh my God. It took me by surprise. I started crying. Bodhi made him, this little boy, my wallpaper on my phone yesterday. This little boy that I was like cuddling and holding. And then my lap felt so empty. Like Sherry took him to put him to bed. And I was like, my lap feels empty. Like I was like, that was so potent and filled with love. It was so nice. Anyway.
So amazing.
Wow,
you guys, wow, what a beautiful story and powerful, it was powerful episode to hear all of that. So thank you for sharing that. And,
oh my God. Of course. And you have a baby in your arms right now, probably.
Unless this baby's late.
No, let's not pull a winter. Okay, baby? We're not going to pull a winter. Winter was 9 days? 8 days.
11.
11 days over. No, that's not happening. It's not happening.
Well,
oh my God.
Daisies, we love you.
Love you.
I don't know. There could be a picture floating around right now of me and baby and Eric, and who knows?
Oh my God. And everyone will know the name and everyone will know the gender.
Well, you've been listening to the Mother Daze podcast. We love you, Daisies. And we will be back soon with more, probably a birth story. Okay.
Yes, we will. Bye. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Everywhere, baby.
Everywhere.
All right, bye.